Okay, I think we are live. I'm doing this for the first time just directly through YouTube, so I'm gonna have to just figure out how everything works, but it seems to be working. All right. So, thank you guys for joining me. This is gonna be like a hangout, some chill, but also some healing energy and questions, answers, maybe, or maybe just questions, and just a little bit of like exchange. Hi, everyone. Yeah, please comment and let me know that you're here. And if you have questions right away, you can put them there and we can get to it later. Okay, so I'm just gonna start like lighting some Palo Santo. I have sage tea, and yeah, it's just good vibes. So we have Cape Town, we have Texas, we have England, Ireland, Vermont, UK. Okay, so there's a question right away. How long have I been doing energy work? That's a very interesting question because I think we do energy work whether we intend to, but I guess like consciously or like intentionally, I have been doing it since 2016, I think. Yeah, I had my first Reiki. I took my first Reiki course in the spring of 2016, and I started experimenting with it mainly on like myself and friends, and hardly any friends. I was so in my head with it. I was so sure I wasn't doing anything, and I'm worried, and just, you know, my mind was ruling the show. So I did it kind of secretly. I mean, it wasn't a secret, but I wasn't confident enough like to be at least like getting clients or anything. But I guess like a year later or two maybe, then I was a little more open with experimenting on people, but still like judged myself like crazy. Like, oh, you're not doing anything. Oh, you know, like, who do you think you are? Like, you know, these voices that aren't definitely not ours, but we often believe that they are and that they are real and true. But so I didn't start actually like charging clients and like putting myself out there as like a business, like I do this for work, until last summer. So like it's been a year and like 3 months. It was like, yeah, last year's spring. And yeah, I love it. So Germany, Sweden, Florida, Slovakia, awesome. Arizona, British Columbia, Canada, Germany. Hi, British Columbia. Hi. Yeah, so those voices, like, I have learned or unlearned basically, like, how none of those voices, of those like demons, are coming from me, and we are not beings who like function in judgment. We just pick it up, and we buy other people's judgments as our own often. And a good like thing to do is like asking, is this mine? And I highly like recommend, that practice, and like starting that habit of always kind of trusting your intuition that way. So asking and not putting the pressure to get a clear answer right away, but we can always kind of know what is our truth by following what is light. Like, is this really mine? Like, is this somebody else's? And if you light up by the thought of like, oh, maybe that's not mine, then it's not. And that can liberate us really easily. So even though it doesn't like solve the problem right away, like the voices come and go, then at least it can be very comforting in the moment, and can be very liberating in the moment to realize like, wow, okay, at least this is not me. It's like I'm picking it up from someone else, or this was like how people functioned in my family, or this was the point of view that my mom had, or whatever. And then we kind of adopt those points of views if we're not aware, or if we have closed down our awareness. So, but it's not as like, it's also important not to make that significant, like, oh no, I've like taken on all this stuff from society and from my family, and like now I'm screwed up or something. It's like, nope, you can just make the choice. Okay, I am now my own person. I am have responsibility for my own well-being, for my own state of mind, and it's just one choice after another. So there's a question, is the pandemic affecting your work, like the teaching and stuff? Well, I just finished, I just decided to like finish this year of teaching. Like, I was teaching music to kids, and then just growing my own business. And if you're talking about that teaching job, then there was never a danger to lose my job there. So I was working until like June, and then I had summer holidays, or not really, because I'm doing my own business. But summer holiday from teaching, at least. So in like spring and like Easter time, we had, of course, like all these rules to we couldn't, of course, be teaching like usually. So we thankfully, like, even though we had to cut down, so I was at the worst, I was going to work at like for like 2 hours a day, but it was never, the school never closed down or anything. So I was always going to work, but sometimes only for like a couple of hours. But like, thankfully, that did not take away from our salary or anything like that. We just got normal salary. So I was really fortunate with that. And everyone who's working in the school system, and everything related to the government, that we didn't really have to worry. But there were so many of my friends who lost their jobs, or working at like coffee houses and stuff, and all of those had to shut down. But I guess there's not it wasn't like, oh no, now my healing kind of business, like, oh no, what's gonna happen? It was more just like, okay, what else, like, what steps and action can I take to work with what's happening? And it's so like, I don't know, it just, everything was functioning different, like, and it's during the peak, people were not coming for in-person sessions, and people were not really buying. I thought maybe like, oh, maybe people will buy distance sessions, but not like people here were not doing that. They just took a break. But that's okay. Like I just worked around it, and yeah, it's so important to not go directly into conclusion like, okay, now this means that this will happen, and then I won't make anything here or blah blah blah. Just go into the question and turn your focus into like what else, what other possibilities are there that I haven't thought of before. And oops. Yeah. So there's a comment. I call them my monkeys, as in the monkeys who ride on my back telling me you're not good enough, you don't deserve this, you can't do this. Yeah. It's funny, my girlfriend calls them ninjas. So it's a similar thing. It's really cute. Yeah, one thing that I realized actually is that when I was because I started calling them ninjas too, and I was always like, oh, the ninjas are saying this, and I think that is really calling them something else at least doesn't make us like put it on us like, oh, I just like taking it as real and true, like, oh, I suck. It's like, okay, the ninjas or the monkeys are saying that I suck. So I think at least it's like good that we're taking it away from ourselves, but at the same time we can, like, I think it's just good to be aware, like if we are making it significant by making the monkeys or the ninjas like real and true. So just a thought to be aware of, like, are those, I mean, do they really have to be there, And I know, like, I know it can be really frustrating when someone is like, oh, just, I'm not saying like that it's like so easy, of course, but I just know that like I used to make them so real and true, and now they're not a part of my reality, like hardly ever. So definitely is possible. And there's a question that I ask myself every day is like, what can I be to be totally me today? And how can I be more me? And when we're us, we're like, we're not thinking, we're not like in some like emotions and feelings, we're just being. So it can be really liberating, that fact, to just like put that out in the universe and not expect an answer right away, but just see like what shows up. And Tel Aviv, wow, Maryland, awesome. I have family in Maryland. Yeah, it's really tough to learn how not to take on the energy of others, especially as an empath. Yes. So what I recommend for that is definitely the barriers down exercise that I have been doing a lot in my Instagram lives. And because what makes it really intense, or when we make it really intense, like what we're aware of with others, is when we make it significant and when we kind of resist and reject it. So if we just put all of our barriers down, if we have the intention to be open and have that intention of like, and acknowledge that, I am infinite, I am big, and this person's emotion there that I know, I know how he's feeling, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's not gonna make my, like, dim my light, just acknowledge that if you kind of put it out there that like, oh no, like I can feel the intensity and it's like coming and it's gonna be in my body and it's gonna be stuck in my body. Like, no, just stop that. Okay, it does not have to. It's not supposed to harm you. You are an empath to be aware. And how fucking cool is that? That you can just be aware of what other people are going through. And is that really supposed to make us feel less, or like make us be less or diminish us? No. So I know like what you're going through, and all of you who are aware like that, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're super powerful. Please don't ever make anyone else's energy bigger than yours. Brazil, Russia. Ooh. What's your favorite music genre, or simply singers, bands? So any like fantasy stuff, or like kind of like Aver. I love Aver, and I used to like, especially when I was growing up, she was like my big inspiration. And she's a Faroese singer, and she studied in Iceland, so, and she speaks Icelandic. I used to think that she was Icelandic, but then I learned that she was Faroese. So and any like dreamy pop, dreamy rock, and then I grew up around classical music, of course, and I have my moments, or like go through times when I'm obsessed with like new contemporary classical music, and I love kind of sometimes going through that to get new inspiration of like sounds and textures and stuff, to like fill up the pop, make it more textury. Yeah, cool. Killing my monkeys, totally. And the thing is that often these voices are actually demons. So I'm not going to go into that, but just like to put it out there that there are demons in this world, and they do not have more power than us. Definitely, they are. It's very easy to get rid of them, and if you want help on that, then like that's a topic for another time, and maybe just book a session with me. Yeah, so guys, if you're not following me on Instagram, like I go live there weekly, and I do these group healings. So it's like answering questions like this, and also like channeling Reiki, and I talk about like a tool that I've been working with, and it's just really awesome that I go live there every Tuesday. So it's this time every week, at least for now. I love doing it, and it's nice to have like a routine like that. So my name on there is at houseofreiki.is. So it's not my name, but it's houseofreiki.is. I'll put it in the description later. So follow me there, and I'd love to grow that account as well. Okay, so there's a comment: I struggle with the monkeys and the ninjas too, but I just cannot help myself, and sometimes wonder if they have a point, and if they are simply more reasonable than I am. Yeah, and that point of view is making them stick around. That's now, like when you go to that, then they're like, yes, okay, she's buying into it. I'm gonna stick around. I'm gonna continue. So that is the only thing that gives them power, when you line and agree with them. So just sit with that a little bit, and it could, like, the thing is often also is that we sometimes we're not totally like aware of what we like about this, because everything that is happening is like your choice, if it's conscious or unconscious. So if we're like, if there's something in our lives that is reoccurring and we're like, oh, I want to change this, but you don't know how, and then it's a good, question to ask yourself, like, okay, what do I actually love about this? Why am I keeping this in my life? Because you are the creator of your life. You are the most powerful person, the most powerful energy in your life. So the tough thing with that is just when we're like not aware of it, and when we're making like subconscious or unconscious choices. So as soon as we just put everything to the table and we're willing to ask ourselves these like tough questions, like, what do I love about, telling myself that I'm not worth it? What do I love about having, what do I love about suffering? What do I love about being a victim, for example? And be really honest with yourself. Like, oh, it's gonna like keep people around, or I don't know, that's the only thing that comes to mind. But it could be something like, it could be so random, but something that you think that you can't achieve without maybe some, suffering in your life. Peter Gundry, ooh, contemporary composer. Okay, I'll check him out. Thanks. Kiasmos, yeah. Björk. Enya. Yeah, people tell me often that I'm similar to Enya. It's like this like spiritual airy fairy. Okay, another question. How did I discover ASMR? So my friend who, like, she was the only friend that I was doing Reiki on. This was like the time that I wasn't confident. I was like secretly practicing Reiki, and I wasn't doing it on anyone. And she was like, "Hey, you do Reiki, right? Like, do you wanna?" And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know." And she's like, "Do you wanna practice on me? I love Reiki." And she's Canadian, and we were working together in a cafe. Like, feels like forever ago. Wow. But so I was like, okay, and I was so scared. I was like, oh, I'm gonna screw it up. But of course, that did not happen. It went really well. And she used to say that she always got like ASMR tingles when I was doing the session. I was like, oh, what is that? And she was just like, oh, these tingles down my spine. And then I just started Googling it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Very random, but interesting. And this was like 3 years ago, I think. And and then I didn't really think much about it. I was just like, life went on. And then I started doing the YouTube videos. And was that June? Yeah, June last year. And I was just telling the story in an interview the other day, and I couldn't then, and I can't now. I'm not sure exactly how it went, but it was something about like I posted my first video, and there was a comment about like, wow, this is like the best ASMR ever. And I was like, oh, like, do I fall into that? Do I really fall into that category? I started like seeing that it was like this huge thing on YouTube. So I was like, okay, I mean, it's definitely gonna help me. Like, I'm gonna get some, like, it's gonna be more visible if I just kind of adjusted a little bit to ASMR. And then I loved doing, and I loved ASMR. I was like, oh, like, yeah, I just that's kind of how it happened. And I started watching Loon Innate, discovered her, and that actually happened before I started doing the YouTube videos. So, and I was like, she actually gave me the nudge to do it, because I was like, yeah, she inspired me to do it, and I kind of saw like, okay, what I want to do, it is kind of out there. Of course, I do it my way, but you know how it's always like you have an idea and you think it's so ridiculous because you don't know really anyone who does it, and then you discover that it's like this whole genre on YouTube, or so that was really awesome. and I wanted to make them kind of like even more Reiki, and then it just kind of went in the direction of this like interactive speaking and like giving advice, and I also, that's kind of how I experienced Loon Innate, her videos, that how soothing it was when she was talking. So I was like, okay, yes, I don't know, that's kind of, and then I decided like, okay, this is gonna be the YouTube kind of way to do things, and then I can always make like a product that is like very like in-depth Reiki healing video that is just like more direct Reiki energy, not this like, ooh, So now I actually have that. For those of you who haven't, like I posted about it on like as a post on YouTube, so probably many of you have seen it, maybe. But if you haven't, then I will actually just post a link to it. So it's like 55 minutes of a Reiki session in a video, and you can buy it for $30. And then you can stream it or download it into your computer and watch it over and over again. And I am going to put the link. I'm just gonna start putting it in the chat here, and then because I'm not sure how I go into the description, like how I go into editing the description in the middle of the live. But so yeah, that's the next one. Have you had another bar session yet? I remember in one of your videos you were saying how amazing the sessions were and you were missing them. Yeah, I do it. I do it whenever I can, like every week. Bars is changing my life like so drastically, and I'm starting to teach or facilitate the bars classes. So I have like, thankfully we've been able to, like, now I've been seeing people that have been coming even though Corona is happening, because we've been holding it really in place. So, but now the numbers are going up a little bit again. But I really want to keep the class that I had planned. It's on the 15th here in Keflavik. I'm just gonna have like gloves and masks and like clean everything super well. But if it gets worse, of course, then I'll just postpone it. But it seems to be like totally okay. People are being careful, but they're not like it. No one is really panicking. Everyone is just taking precautions, and the numbers are super low compared to like other countries. But we're still like being very conscious of what's how the numbers are changing and stuff. So yes, I have my bars run every single week, and sometimes more often. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find kind of people who are available at the same time, because you just, like, the awesome thing about taking a bars class is that you can just exchange sessions with other people who are in the class. So recently it's been a little it hasn't really aligned. So, but the thing is that like the tools that you learn, like I've shared some tools with you guys, but I'm kind of like, I had a little conversation with myself earlier tonight, was like, okay, I'm not gonna give everything away because I want to honor the bars class and how valuable it is. So I just highly suggest for everyone to take a bars class. The thing is that it has to be in person. So but there are bars facilitators like all over the world, not in every single country, but like every single country that I've seen here, I'm pretty sure, like in the chat. So the only thing, of course, is like COVID times. So as soon as that like changes, then you can go to a in-person bars class. The thing is, though, I'm just remembering, is that on the Access Consciousness website, you can purchase. There's one guy who is like allowed to have bars class, an online bars class, and you can purchase like the replay of that one. So you can find that on the Access Consciousness website. So yes, it's just like it's so easy and amazing, these bars. It's like just person who is like touching 32 different points for an hour, and it starts dissipating all these like stuck energy, stuck points of view that you have about like there's like this point here that is awareness and control, money, creativity. So like, for example, if you hold these two, it's like everything that you've decided that how it is to make money, or like, oh, money doesn't grow on trees, I can't make money, I have so little money or something. And like creativity, everything that's holding you back from creating. Like, of course, like you cannot know like how much of it is going to go in one session, but some people just come out after one session and are like the mind is like, that's how I was after the session. I was like, what just happened? And I couldn't pinpoint like why I felt so funky. But then I realized, oh my God, there's nothing going on in my mind. Like, it's just space. I'm just me. And I was just this like I am now, like this light and chatty, energetic, but super light, happy person. I was like, where has this person been? And I didn't like all the stuff that we take into our bodies, like from the surroundings, like it wasn't there. And it's amazing how, like if you do it weekly, how crazy much changes. And the thing is, now that I'm not like, okay, it's been a little, I think it's been like 9 days since I had my bars run. And like 2 days ago, also because there's like full moon and everything that was going on, I was like, fuck, okay, I'm not sure if I can swear, can I? I guess it's too late. But I was like, okay, I really need some bars now. And of course, like, it's not like, okay, I'm gonna find the words. Yeah, I don't know. It's like whatever's going on, I used to think like, okay, is this a way of just escaping something I could be looking at within me? But then I realized, no, because none of this is mine, So it was so liberating to just get my bars run, and then all you have left is you. And then you're like, okay, that thing that I was, obsessing about earlier, who did that belong to? And the thing that I was saying, ADHD, is that even though like, yeah, I really was like, okay, I couldn't totally benefit from a bar session now, like 2 days ago. I was like, okay, the tools that I have, what are those? And I just went through them, and one of them is really gonna like light up your world. And there's so many tools that you learn in the bars class just to use every single day, throughout the day. Like, who does this belong to? Who does this belong to? And the barriers down and all that. And so it's such a gift. I can't recommend it more. So yeah, so there's a comment. I think often people have this idea that anything worth having you need to suffer for. I realize this is a really potentially damaging thought. If the universe lines up, then things just flow. Yes, like this is such a common thing. Like you need, and also just like you need to, yeah, you need to suffer, you need to work super hard at something that you don't really enjoy, for example, to earn money or to have money, and that you need to deserve something. Deserve is a made up word, is a made up thing. Like nobody can like deserve or not deserve something. It's just how you work with the universe. And this is something that is like, you have to realize that this is a lie if you want to start creating your life with joy and just like, oh my God, what is possible? And if you want to really, yeah, like be open to all the possibilities that you don't even know exist and have fun. Like, how many of you, like, maybe have the point of view that you don't deserve to have fun, or that you're not allowed to have fun, or that it's shameful to actually have fun, and have that point of view of like, okay, if it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. If it's fun, I'm going to do it. There's so many people who don't allow themselves to be in that question. Is this fun for me? And choose from what is actually fun. Toronto, welcome. How do I remind myself that I'm not responsible for other people's feelings or energy? For when I was having a hard time with this, it was as simple as just telling myself, like, remember, this is not your responsibility, and catching myself when I'm there, when I'm having this like tiptoeing energy, and when I'm making sure, like when I'm choosing to make someone else feel comfortable over myself, I just demanded of myself to stop myself in that and be like, whoa, why, like, are you doing this for you or for this person? Like, are you making yourself miserable for this person, or just to make this person not like possibly be upset or something? So it was just as simple as like, oh, okay, now I'm going into that, can I choose a different way? And just having that courage, because when you're used to putting other people's needs, or putting other people's life and choices and comfortability above your own, it can be really, really, really uncomfortable when you start changing it. But you just gotta push yourself through it, because it's just because you're not used to it, and you don't like, you don't have the point of view that you are worth being number 1, 2, and 3. So of course it is gonna feel like you're a horrible person. Like, first it does, like, shit, I'm being so horrible to that person, but it's a lie. It's a loop, it's a cycle. So if you can just stop yourself in that and just remind yourself, no, I am number 1, 2, and 3, even though it doesn't like resonate like at first, and just kind of gather that courage to make a different choice. And it's okay, like, it's so important when it's just like too much, when it's like, okay, it, like, I can't, now I'm just gonna put that person above me. Like, when you're there, when it's too hard to put yourself, because it can't, like, if you're gonna stop yourself every time, it's gonna be super uncomfortable all the time, and you're probably gonna end up stopping and going back, like falling off the wagon. So don't be too hard on yourself when in between you're not gonna choose yourself. Don't go into the judgment, because that's just gonna put you in the same old place. But just like acknowledge when you can do it, like, oh my God, that's, point. So yeah, just be like proud of yourself when you can, and it's gonna be easier and easier and easier. So if if you kind of just don't if you're not kind of aware enough to catch yourself in there, I would just put little sticky notes. That's what I used to do. Put sticky notes like to like, hey, are you doing this? Like, remember that you are worth it. Remember you are enough. Remember that you are number 1, 2, and 3 in your own life. Just put it everywhere around your house, around your bedroom or something, just to remind you. If that, hope that helps. Hmm. Yeah. So bars. I have heard people resemble bars to like reflexory massage. I've actually never tried it, but I have a friend who does reflexory massage, and she also does bars. She loves both. But yeah, so um, you can go on my. I'm thinking. Yeah, I would just recommend going to accessconsciousness.com if you're interested about bars and want to learn more. There's also a bunch of stuff on YouTube from people talking about. Or I guess it's just more accessible on Access Consciousness website because people are talking about the how they like kind of their story with the bars and what kind of happened with them after the first session and all that. Um, Thank you so much. This would not be happening without any of you. So I'm so grateful for all of you, for people like for you who stick around and watch the videos over and over again and show up for the live. Yeah, exactly. If you don't put yourself first, then who will? Yeah. So my kitten is here with us. I was like, I'm really hoping that she wants to say hi. But every time I'm doing a live, she like gets in this really weird mood. Like, I think she can just sense all of your energy, and she doesn't know what to do with it. So she just like runs around everywhere. But she's here. She's really close. She's under here. So maybe she'll say hi soon. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, the singing ASMR. Yeah, I like planned on doing like the singing you to sleep, the last video, and then I decided just to plan the songs and not um and I had this time during the day and I was like, okay, it's gonna be a daylight video then. Like, and I also just decided I want to go with the energy. Like this is going to be like a transmission. It's going to be like an energy healing video more than an ASMR cozy. So I wanted to honor that. So it turned out to be like, yeah, it was like pretty strong, like notes and it was not very like whispery or not at all. But I love those too. So I want to make the next one in that way, in that style. So I named it Singing You to Relaxation. And I'm so happy to hear that it was relaxing indeed. And I will do a singing you or whispering singing you to sleep. Any advice for getting into Reiki, as in starting to actively practice it? All the information online is quite overwhelming. Okay, so Reiki is really simple. What the spiritual community wants you to believe is that it's like for the chosen ones, or that you have to be super, super, I don't know, something that is like this mysterious thing, you know? Anyone can do it. It's so simple. So, my number one advice is don't go into your head about it. That was like my mistake for my first few years. I thought I wasn't good enough. I thought my energy wasn't clear enough, or that I wasn't doing enough. But it's actually the exact opposite is what makes you good with energy healing, and that is if you do less and be more, and just be an allowance. And what only thing that makes that difficult or hard is our mind. So whatever you need to do to get out of your mind is is the only thing that you need to do. And of course, it's like with anything, like practice makes it better, and it makes you more confident, and it makes you feel the flow of the energy. It makes you familiar with the flow of the energy. You don't need to. If you're attuned, you're always going to be attuned. And if you practice on both yourself and someone else, then it's going to be amazing. You have everything it takes. And you do not have to attend a super expensive class with this highly holy Reiki master. Like, that is like the one, Anyone who you were convinced is gonna like work with you and your energy, like, trust your knowing. If you find something online that's like a online course on a distance attunement, no matter what some people say, some people will tell you that's not the real deal. That's like, oh, you were scammed or whatever. Like, don't listen to that. If it makes you excited, if it makes you light, if it draws you in, trust that. I went to an in-person class for my Reiki 1 and Reiki 2. And then I did an online, super cheap online Reiki course that had all the levels, like all 3. That was way powerful than the in-person. That does not mean that all distance learning or distance attunement are better or anything. It just, that was the one I knew was right for me. And I trusted that, even though I knew many people who said that you should never do it online or never do a distance attunement or whatever. Distance attunement, it was really powerful. So just start, go with your instincts, go with your inner knowing, and don't go into your head. And I'm here if you need any advice. Yeah, and practice. And the thing is that there's also no one right way of doing it. Like, sometimes I do it and I kind of push the energy out and I visualize it more flowing. It's kind of like depends on my mood. Sometimes it's all about just allowing it to flow. So it's also just working with, not being in your head, being in your knowing and your intuition. And the thing also, it all comes down kind of to the same thing, that the thing that makes you buy that you're not intuitive, or that like, oh I'm not connected to my intuition, that's all your mind and the monkeys and the ninjas. So like, that's what we should all be working on if we want to get beyond the mind. Like, really, all the magic is beyond the mind. And like, I'm rooting for you. Good luck. Where was I? Do you have any advice for re-energizing the throat chakra? I'm now back at work after spending lots of time at home, and I'm finding it hard to find my voice again. Yeah, you're welcome, guys. So, thunder and writing. So, what What do you mean with finding your voice? Do you mean that, like, what is it that you are doing in your work, in your job? Because I think anything that has to do with like using the physical voice helps. If that is singing when you're singing and dancing when you're home, if that is speaking your truth, like speaking your opinions, that's like really powerful. And it all depends on like what is it that is like that you tend to avoid the most with speaking, um, telling the truth, telling like speaking your truth, anything that has to do with that, or like if you find it hard to speak up, if someone is like, "Can you speak louder?" What is it that you're like, "Oh, that's my thing." You can just ask yourself, or you can tell me, but just like out of the comfort zone with that totally. Hmm. Yeah, I one thing that I tend to like not realize is that you guys are watching the videos like again, which I am so happy that you're doing that. Like because like I tend to, or I used to like I wanted to be more frequent or consistent with posting, but at the same time I have also been acknowledging how aware I am with the timing of the videos, and how even though I have planned so many different themes and series, I got the awareness that wow, okay, like either this nut is actually not going to create more awareness or more consciousness or whatever, or like okay, this is awesome, but now is not the time. It's going to be later. So in those times when there is like a dry spell, or I think it is, then it's always some of you who remind me like, oh, but you have so much content. Like it's different, of course, to get a new one, but like it makes me happy to know that at least that you do that. You watch, you just go back to an old one, and then you hear something that you didn't hear last time you saw it, or maybe you fell asleep in the middle of one and then you didn't actually see the rest, so now you can. Mhm. So that is awesome. The videos are not going anywhere, they're there. Yeah. um so I am going to play the singing bowls a little bit. You can continue writing comments and some questions. I think this is I'm gonna do maybe 15 minutes of singing bowls and maybe some humming. Does that sound good? See. Okay, I'm just gonna answer this one. Thank you, Sana. I'm having trouble with speaking fluently and translating my thoughts into spoken words. Yeah, especially in groups. Okay, so is it really your throat chakra, or is it something else? What I find, and this is different for everyone, so that's just my truth, is that the chakras actually limit me. And I would not have said this if it was a throat chakra thing, but is it maybe something else? Are you maybe aware, way more aware than you think? Do you have ADD or something like that? Because I do. And that's a sign of being, you're super aware of everyone else's minds, everyone else's thoughts. So a movement, like what people think often with ADD people is that we just have difficulty focusing, which is not true. It's just that we're super aware of everything that's shifting around, all the energies. So it could be anything, like it could be a person who is walking outside and we don't really know about it, but like all of a sudden lose your train of thought and you're like, oh, why did that happen? And it does not mean that we are super cognitively aware, like, oh, there's a person walking there and he's thinking that he needs to go buy tomatoes. It's not. Sometimes we get a thought of like, tomatoes or something. You like start craving tomatoes or whatever. And sometimes it's like, oh, I have to buy tomatoes. And you're like, no, I don't have to buy tomatoes. And sometimes it's just the energy, and the energy kind of overwhelms you. Doesn't have to be like intense or anything. It's just enough for you to be like, there's something else. Like now, I've had to like what I have learned is not to take it seriously. Like if I lose my train of thought, it's like, oh, okay, that happened, and then just like not pulling myself or putting myself down for it, and just acknowledging like, oh, okay, I'm aware of something. Okay, where was I? It doesn't have anything to do with focus, really. It just seems like that because when we are aware, when we get, it's like someone is like constantly doing this, like hi, or like calling our name in a very subtle way, of course. So that's why a lot of ADD people maybe don't realize that it's because they're aware of something, because it can be really subtle, and sometimes it just, your mind gets a little foggy. So it's these are all beautiful advice, people, guys. It's just something like, it's sometimes can limit us to maybe label it as something when we're having a quote unquote problem. So speaking fluently and translating my thoughts into spoken words. Yeah. But this is what I deal with. I would not say that it's a throat chakra thing. I have a very open throat chakra, but sometimes I do not have any words. It's just energy. And I'm perceiving, and I'm trying to speak with like my girlfriend, for example, and we speak together in English because her mother tongue is Portuguese, and I can't find the English word and I can't find the Icelandic word, and sometimes I have to speak like Icelandic 50%, English no, like Icelandic 20, English 20, and then just like I'm like, you don't get it. Just like, but that's something that I have acknowledged, and it took me it took me a while to really acknowledge it. Like, oh, okay, it's because I'm aware and I have ADD and ADHD. But that's just something for you to think about. Thunder writing. Rome, hello. Yeah, exactly. Okay, this is so important to acknowledge. So they're saying when you ask the question of, is it something else? Something clicked for me. Thank you so much. So this is really important. This is your awareness saying like, I know, like your being like, I am intuitive. Like this is your sign. So you can always ask yourself, is it really this or is it something else? And what calls you more? And then you can go into question, okay, then what is it? Is it maybe this or that? And yeah, it's a starting point at least. All right, so I'm gonna play the bowls a bit, and you guys can just Start with, if you're up for some moments of, without maybe labeling it too much, you can look at it as healing, as relaxation, as just a moment to get present in your body. Then just start with saying hi to your body and just do like a quick, or yeah, like in whatever speed or that is comfortable for you, like a little scan. You can start with your head, and I like to picture it as like this tingly scan that kind of like, as I go further down, it like stays and it's just like little stars like tingling in my body, and it's just moving further down. And as this tingly energy is filling up parts of your body, that space where it is filling up, now you're totally aware of that space. And just continue moving down in your own speed. And what color is it? What texture is it? Is it any? Maybe it's not a texture, maybe it's not a color, maybe it's just space. Is it moving or is it still? Is it only inside your body or is it expanding out? You can try both. And what feels lighter to you is the one you can stick to. And right now, in your body is the only place you need to be. Your body does not include the mind. It does not include emotions. It includes sensations. What sensations are present in your body? And which of those are yours? So as you continue with the scan, just be in these questions. Is this sensation mine? Or is it someone else's? And what changes when the sound waves enter into your body? If you can, you totally just allow them to penetrate you, to enter you without any judgment, and just observing what happens, which sensations arise, or if some sensations go away. And all of this is happening with no judgment, just observation. encourage you to catch yourself and just go back to observing how it is experiencing sound waves. And it's not about making yourself wrong or going into your mind. Just move your focus to the body. And the mind is not a part of the body. Yo, Nala's here. Fascinated by the bowls like we all are. Can you go even deeper? Can you relax even more? Is there a body part that is a little bit stuck or a little heavy? So just move your attention there and see if it shifts. Often the things that keep us in a state of stress, or if we have a knot in our stomach or something, when we try to avoid it and resist it, that's when it stays. So if we just relax, and actually be with whatever it is that is making us tense, it often tends to dissipate. And when it does, can you then relax even more? Yeah, Nala. She's so cute, I can't. Oh, do you like the balls, Nala? And if you are totally relaxing, can you then expand this relaxation around, like outside of your body, in all directions, and reach 10 people, 20. Just bathe everyone with this relaxing energy. Because you are that powerful. When you relax, So can we expand ourselves even further, reach even more people than you actually already are? Now I know what brings my cat to the frame. Is the singing bowls. Yeah, let her come. Come there. Mm. And know that being this relaxed, being in this state of allowance, comes natural to you. It's not some magic that the symbols are putting on you. They are magic because they bring us to the state that is natural to us, that is just purely you. But it's not, it's a tool, it's a beautiful magical tool, like Reiki is. Just acknowledge that you have all of it inside of you. Hmm. Nalamin, hindi ko masayahin. Yeah. This is her sound when she's like, don't pick me up, I'm doing something. You're disturbing me. Yay. So, are there any. Wait, there were some questions. So, if some of you, or those of you who kind of drifted away, drifted off, which is beautiful, can just start by slowly coming back. Just moving your fingers, your toes, deepening the breath, remembering your body. And we are going to end this in like 10 minutes. It's been amazing, so cozy and nice to have all of you on. And I hope that you are relaxed, and a bit lighter than you were maybe when you came up. And um, I'm so happy that Nala came, my kitten. So you got to see her. And she's in this phase where she is going into everything. So she was hanging out in the swimming pool. Every box, everything. Like we thought that she would love that when she was younger, and she never paid any attention to it. So now she's at the stage. She's 3.5 months, and she's going into everything she can go into. So that was really cute. So there's a question or a comment. I had a live sound healing in Bali. It was awesome. I could feel the vibrations go through my brain. Yes. So another thing that I love, like that is actually like something I'm working on. Like I really want to buy, or I'm going to buy more singing bowls like this. These are it's like alchemy crystal singing bowls. They're so healing, and they have like metals infused and special minerals. And going to a sound healing that they call a sound bath, where the sound practitioner is playing like 20 different types of these like at the same time, and you're just laying there for like 45 minutes, and it's just moving everything. It's so gentle. It's not like breath work or cap or anything like that. It's super gentle, and your body is like light as a cloud. So if you guys enjoy like me playing these these few balls, and if your body likes it, then you can find a sound bath maybe near you. And during this COVID thing, a lot of people are doing online sound baths, virtual sound baths. So one sound healer that I love, she's in Santa Monica in California. Her name is Susie Scheiflin. She's called the Copper Vessel. And I went to actually one of her sound baths when I was there. And she also does virtual ones, so I recommend her if you don't know where to start. And yeah, guys, how are you doing? How are you after the symbols? Mhm. Someone is talking about Kundalini awakening. So there are many ways to look at that. I like, yes, I've had experience where I'm pretty sure that was my Kundalini awakening. But at the same time, it was never, I never really like made that significant or too much big of a deal. So I am maybe not the person to ask like more like deeper about that, but it's like a big topic that I know a lot of people, different people know a lot about. So every part of me is soothed, says special little pineapple. Awesome. So good to hear. So if there are not any more questions, I'm just going to close this off. So there was no Reiki tonight, but that's just where the energy took us. It took us to sound healing and other types of presence. We are sleepy. Awesome. So thank you so much everyone for joining. If you feel called to like donating to me, you can to my PayPal. It's sunnafr@gmail.com. I'm going to put that in the description as well. You can see that afterwards. And thank you, those of you who are supporting me on Patreon. I really appreciate it. And then I'm just going to remind you that I have if you want like an in-depth, like a healing one-on-one session, but maybe don't afford like a one-on-one pricing, then the video that I just posted in the chat, I'm going to put that in the description as well. The video is an awesome option for you guys if you want that deep Reiki distance healing cheaper than a one-on-one session would be. And then you get a video and you can download it and to your computer. So pain-free from a week-long headache, felt vibrations in my neck. Awesome. That's awesome to hear, guys. Relaxed. Nala is amazing. It was so cute how she looked out of the singing bowl. Yo. She definitely contributed to the healing. Yeah, it's perfect if you're in a part of the world where it's like late evening. It's 9:30 almost here, so it's really nice to kind of just wind down and go to sleep soon. And if it's like middle of the day, then you can just go kind of refreshed into the rest of your day. This helped lower your anxiety and blood pressure. Awesome. Good to hear. All right. So thank you again for joining. It was super awesome and relaxing. And just let's do this again. Yeah? So I'm going to end now. Bye, everyone.